You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Cricket Podcast. You can find us, as a reminder, on Twitter at the Cricket Pod. We are sponsored by Woodstock Cricket Company, TCP 25 for 25% off bats, softs. They call them softs gloves. Did you know that? Softs.
I don't know.
25% off. That's the key thing. TCP 25. We're on Patreon, and that means you get exclusive question asking ability, plus me sending you graphs all the time.
It's like a minor superpower, isn't it?
Yeah. Patreon.com/the cricket pod. Make us happy, make yourselves happy. Get involved in our little community over there. And there's usually another message, but I can't remember what it was. We are going to be talking about the T20 World Cup. All the teams have now announced their squads. We've done an in-depth-ish video or podcast on England and India. So you can go and check them out on, I think, our last two shows. Today, though, we're going to be talking about everyone else, because that's how cricket works, really, isn't it? There's India, there's England, and there's, Australia, like worth half of one of those two. And then there's just the rest. So it's just Australia and the rest. We've got teams each that we're going to be talking about. Road to 10k subs. That's what I was thinking. We're on the road to 10k subs. So be a part of that. Tell all your friends about the Cricket Podcast. We've been in the top 200 sports pods in the UK for a week now. We haven't mentioned that once because we're humble.
Well, we were.
Where would we like to start, Max? We're just going to shout out a team name, and then it's a free for all.
Right. Well,
I wish we had one of those wheels where you could just go.
Oh, yeah.
That would be great.
Afghanistan.
Why didn't you?
I could have written them down. People liked who we picked.
Why didn't you come up with that idea earlier, Ross? Well, it's Australia and the rest, isn't it? So why don't we start with Australia?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So I've done some notes on Australia, and it's quite fun when we talk about Australia because Australia will probably smash us in the Ashes, and we've had to watch Steve score so.
We don't care about that anymore, though, do we?
Yes,
we're white ball people.
We're white ball people. Okay. We're usually seeing Steve Smith smashes all around, but actually, when it comes to short format, we have smashed Australia like big time. It's like that World Cup semi-final was the biggest arse pounder you've seen in a cricket stadium. It was unbelievable. Like they Jason Roy, what a player. Anyway,
the night is called, Ross. I think they want their vernacular back.
Yeah, but what did I say? Did I really say that? I did.
Yeah.
Apologies. Oh, well,
who are you apologising to?
Everybody. Sorry.
Yourself.
Probably myself, yeah. Shouldn't say that. But our spanking, is that better? You shouldn't do that to your kids. Right. Anyway, I'm going to get away from that.
Just stop. Just stop.
Just leave the arse alone.
Okay.
Just leave arses alone. We're an arse-free zone.
Okay, speaking of arses, Mitch Marsh has been included in the squad.
Hey.
He is definitely, if he is the answer, I'm not sure Australia are actually asking the right question because the guy can't face spin. Like, it's point proven. He cannot play against spin. And where are we playing? In the UAE. And most of the teams are going to have a pretty good spin attack. So Mitch Marsh, probably not the answer. And his return to form recently isn't really a return to form. His strike rate was about 108. So that is not a return to form if you spend 50 balls in your thing and hit 51. That is not a great return in T20 cricket. Fortunately, Josh English has been called up to replace, was it Josh Felipe and Alex Carey? He's got he's the reserve wicketkeeper, and actually I think he'll probably get a game. He'll probably play more often than not. I don't think they're going to take him just to kind of sit on the bench. But what they do have is, do you reckon just leave one of their most promising players on the bench?
They're obsessed by Matt Wade. I don't know what happens in Australia. It's even fucking weirder than this country, to be honest, when it comes to selection. They get obsessed with players. Like, why is Matt Wade in any Australia side? What's he done to justify this? He's there, and he's going to play. Mitch Marsh. What's he done?
Did you hear? As I said, about a 50 ball 50 against Bangladesh, and it was just like everyone else couldn't bat against them, and he's just like, "What are you doing?" Anyway, let's move away from there. Their team structure is ultimately the issue. So they've got plenty of explosive batsmen in terms of Glenn Maxwell and Glenn Maxwell, but they don't plenty, but they don't really seem to have a plan here. Like Justin Langer is probably lucky to be in his job. David Warner has been pretty pants for quite a while now in T20 cricket, so they're going to be hoping that now Johnny Bairstow's not going to go play for the Sunrisers, he comes into that side and hits a bucket load of runs and finds a bit of form. And Aaron Finch, their captain, hasn't played cricket in ages. He's been injured.
And he played in the UAE in the IPL last year and couldn't buy a run.
Yeah, couldn't buy a run.
Couldn't bat.
It's not looking good for them.
But dropped for a child.
Yeah, but looking at their lineup, they've got Pat Cummins kind of scheduled to bat at 7 or Ashton Agar at 7. Like, that's not a good place that you want to be. Like, Pat Cummins' ability down the order is useful when he's got about 10 balls to face, which is great. But actually, their lineup just doesn't fill me with dread. Like, if England was to draw them, I'm going, this is great.
It's just not very good. That's
basically
like,
they're playing. They are playing the Mitchell Starc Hail Mary, I think.
Yeah.
Which is that if Mitchell Starc has a tournament, this team can win because they will put some runs on the board. They're not particularly dynamic, but they've got the substance to get 150, I think. And Mitch Starc can stop a team getting 150 by himself. Some of the other bowlers in this. The Cum Dog's all right. I wouldn't have either of them as more than a 7 out of 10.
Zampa could be good.
Zampa's decent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Zampa and Ashton Agar combination isn't actually too bad in the UAE. I think that's not a
Glenn
bad
Maxwell
thing.
might bowl a few overs as well.
He was an opening bowler if Punjab Kings are to be believed.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Jack. I agree. I think they are relying on that star performance, but as we've seen, like in a tournament, you can't sustain star performance after star performance after star performance. I don't think so. I think they're going to be up against it.
Yeah, I suspect so. I think there's probably a few of them who are a bit past their sell-by day. I also think it's like Steve Smith. I've just said that he will help them get to 150, and he will, but that's not really what you want to be aiming for in T20 cricket. I don't. Surely, they've got the Big Bash and stuff, and players play in the IPL. Surely there's somebody that's better than Steve Smith in Australia at T20 cricket, but I guess we're not going to find out.
And I just think other teams like India, like England, they are playing just a completely different brand of cricket, and England and India might, depending on the pitch, may well average 180 in the tournament, at least 175, something like that. These guys aren't anywhere near scaring me. Max, no. who's on your list? Who would you like to talk about now?
Well, top of my list,
South Africa.
South Africa, yeah, well done. So yeah, the South Africa squad is quite interesting because it's probably more about who isn't on there as who is on there. Obviously, we know that the AB dream is not to be no savior, no De Villiers to come and drag South Africa out of the mire. But there is also no Super Faf, no Faf du Plessis, who he's just picked up a groin injury before the start of the IPL. So to rub some salt into that wound, he's also not going to be going to the World Cup, which I think is a bit of a surprise, even though he's not the most dynamic of T20 players. He doesn't score at the fastest rate. He had a pretty good start for CSK in the earlier part of the year, and obviously very experienced and might be quite useful somewhere like the UAE. So that surprised me a bit. There's also no Imran Tahir, who obviously the evergreen Imran Tahir, who still does laps and showed batteries. Yeah, showed his brilliance in the 100. His hat trick in the 100 still not good enough to get him on the plane. He has obviously, I would say, been replaced by Maharaj, who is in instead. Jack has his hand up. Jack,
wasn't Steve Finn one of the wickets in the hat trick?
Oh, yeah, it was the last 3 wickets of the innings, wasn't it? To wrap it up. So it wasn't. Yeah. I mean, it's people who can't pick googlies.
Should have to be against the top. The hat trick should be 7 and above.
Don't believe that's in the definition. Don't believe that's in the definition of a hat trick. But yeah, they've gone for Maharaj, who's not actually played the T20 international before. So
he's played 2.
Has he?
He's played 2. Yes, he played the last 2 against Sri Lanka.
Right.
this
Yeah.
month.
So up until the series hadn't. So that'll be interesting to see how he gets on. But obviously, good to have your best spinner in the UAE. So I've not got a problem with that so much. But I'll tell you what I do have a problem with, gents. If you had the most expensive IPL player of all time in your country, would you pick him?
I think they've got a problem with phones. Boucher and Smith, they are, compared to us, they're elderly gentlemen. They're from an era where probably you didn't have a mobile when you grew up. So maybe they don't know how to
you had
text.
one like the size of this water bottle.
Yeah, maybe they haven't topped up for a while. But there seems to be a theme in South African cricket at the moment, whereby it's very difficult to get hold of either Boucher or Graham Smith via a telephone, or for them to get back in touch with you. Because Tahir said this, didn't he? He said, I said I was available, and nobody even said they didn't want me. They just ignored me and released the squad. There's a bunch of other stuff going on with Boucher, and he's basically unreachable for that. I think possibly they're just not very technologically savvy. I don't know how they let these guys know whether they're in the team or not. Probably by post or fax.
Yeah. So Chris Morris maybe moved address and didn't respond.
Yeah.
Didn't set up a mail forwarding.
He did say I haven't heard from them, but Chris Morris, he's a man of the world, isn't he? He's definitely got a mobile.
Yeah,
he's probably got 2 phones, I reckon.
He's not even on the reserve list.
Phones.
It's ridiculous. He's not even on the reserve list. This is the man who, Royals broke the bank for to save their IPL team, and he did quite a good job of it. He bowls tight death overs. He's useful down the order and hits sixes, and apparently that's not what you want in your T20 team. You don't want a man who's really good at it. So no Chris Morris. That's questionable.
There's just a massive chasm in this team, isn't there? Like there's just South African cricket in general at the moment is just in disarray. You can't have your best players on the outside of your international team. Like it just doesn't work.
Captain's got a broken hand as well, by the way. He might not make it.
So they're just gonna be wanting De Kock, aren't they? That's the only one. Him to come off.
De Kock, yeah.
It's bonkers. It's absolutely bonkers, and it's the only thing you can really take out of that squad is that there's just a huge Chris Morris shaped hole.
But even George Linder's down as reserve. He's played for most of their T20s over the last year or so.
Yeah,
and he was good against England. I thought. Yeah. I thought he was impressive against England.
Maharaj had 2 decent games against the Sri Lankan fucking C team or whoever's playing for Sri Lanka. So he's now number 1.
Yeah. No, there's also no Marco. Also no Marco Jansen.
Good lower order power, and they're just like, no, we're going to go with the guy who's good against Sri Lanka. I think I can say with some authority that performances against Sri Lanka should not count in your stats. Nobody should be picked for anything.
Not at the moment, anyway. Not this Sri Lanka.
Yeah, South Africa actually managed to lose to Sri Lanka, which is how bad this team are.
Yeah, it's pretty bonkers. But I suppose the only saving grace for the South African side. They have got Rabada and Nortje and Tabraiz Shamsi, so they've got some pretty and Maharaj as well. I'm thinking in the bowling front first. So in the UAE, there's a reasonably formidable bowling lineup there. But in terms of runs, it's De Kock or bust, isn't it?
I do think. Imagine if they had Morris and Faf. I think they'd have actually a pretty good side.
Yeah.
But their bowling. The bowling is good, as you say, but it's
mad.
Feels wrong.
It's absolutely mad.
Haven't got to.
Have they at least tried to fill like the Chris Morris shaped hole? Like Fela Quayu, is he in the side, Max?
He's a reserve. He's a reserve.
He's not really a Morris replacement, is he?
No, he's not. But he's right on medium fast, isn't he?
And bats a bit, yeah.
Why? Yeah. And Geedy's maybe the Morris replacement, and he's pretty bad. I think.
I don't know. No.
Weird.
Well, at the moment, we're writing off the Australians and we're writing off the South Africans. So 2 from 2. Fine.
Okay. Where are we going? Am I up next?
You're up.
Yeah. Let's do Bangladesh because they're really easy. It's basically Bangladesh have picked the squad that you'd expect, except that Tamim Iqbal isn't playing. He stepped down himself, I think, because they hadn't been picking him as an opener. They've been going with Sarkar and Linton Das, which is fine. Bangladesh, I think one of two things will happen. It will either spin and they will be very, very dangerous. They'll win a lot of 130 aside, or they're the sort of team that can score 130 in crap conditions and then will bowl pretty well. And they've got the Fizz who does all sorts of weird things with the ball, or it'll be flat and they'll be total cannon fodder. I don't think there's really much in between. They're quite a binary outfit. They've really gone for that. I hope it spins. Which is fair enough. I mean, that's where their talent is. A bit like England have kind of gone for the opposite, haven't they? By picking all the seamers. They've played both of those nations are examples of teams that have played to their strengths. They could be really interesting. Or as I say, they could be, being regularly hit onto the motorway at Sharjah and not really able to do anything about it. And certainly the batting is not particularly exciting.
But they're going with confidence, right? They're going. They've done pretty well in the last few months. I don't know
if you'd be confident, would you? Some of the pitches they played on, basically a different sport, isn't it? It's like if England picked the men's football team to go to the Cricket World Cup, and they were like, that they've been doing a different sport, but they did very well at the Euros. So they'll be going to the Cricket World Cup with confidence. Yeah.
Confidence is a weird thing, Jack. I think if you've got it, and some of these guys might like it. They might like it. So
that's Bangladesh. It's very hard to call. They could make the knockout stages if it spins. Otherwise, I think they could finish below, like, I don't know, Oman or whoever makes it through to the next round. Ross, where are we going next?
We're back down at the bottom of the world, so I'm going to New Zealand because they've got a pretty good lineup. I think they've got some obviously decent players that we all know and love, like Trent Boult, Williamson, Lockie Ferguson's in the squad. Max Surrey boy Jameson's there as well.
Yeah, Surrey legend.
Devon Conway. Now New Zealand have been a force to be reckoned with for the last few years now, and there is a bit about this team where it's like, okay, they could potentially do something. I do think they've made a couple of errors in their squad. Adam Milne, for example, is only down as as injury cover, whereas they've picked Tim Southey.
Yeah.
Sometimes it feels a bit like a weird cult or a bit of a boys' club or something like that. It's who you know rather than actually your ability. And if you face
like England picking Stuart Broad.
It's a little bit strange, that one. I thought the whole point in like Kiwi cricket was to be all about meritocracy, etc. I don't think picking Tim Southey on your Test career and kind of your ODI.
I'm led to believe that Southey's been pretty good in T20 internationals for the last few years. I don't know. I actually haven't got the stats in front of me, but somebody was saying that he has been not awful. I mean, I agree. I think Adam Milne is so obviously a better option that it really shouldn't be much of an argument. But I don't think Southey's like a complete. He's not like picking Stuart Broad, I would say, and I don't think he's being picked just because he's good at Test cricket. I think he has got a bit more to him than that.
Fine, I'll be a bit more respectful to Tim Southey. So
yes,
the guy should be. The guy who clearly can't play T20 cricket was Tim Southey. Should be replaced by Adam Milne. I don't think he should be in the squad. Finn Allen, he's not in the squad either, and so that's going to be to Dan Weston's kind of sadness, really. The intent machine that he's labelled, unfortunately, isn't in there. The issue I think that with this side is their spin department. I don't think any team is worried about Ish, Sodhi, and Mitchell Starc. Now, that doesn't scream like strong bowling lineup to me. They've got good pace. We've said on the last show around how pace does take wickets in the UAE, but the control that you do get from your spinners, I don't think Sodhi and Santner are up to that challenge, and that's where I think they'll fall down, and I don't think they'll make it all the way through.
Santner's not bad. Right. Yeah, he can control it. He might not be threatening in the wickets department, but
when we talk about CSK, when we talk about CSK, we're not sitting there going, Santner should be playing all the time, are we?
No, but he's a backup. He's a backup spinner, isn't he? He's not. He's not.
He's okay.
If
He's okay. That's what I'm saying. He's okay.
If Santner were Indian, he would be.
CSK have got Jadeja.
People would like him. Yeah. He's
and
not going to play.
Santner can't even clean the shoes of Jadeja.
But no one's saying that, though, are they? What we're saying is that, like,
he'll be useful.
If Jadeja is your number one left arm spinning all round option in the world, and he's AA plus, Santner's probably a B. He's like he would get close to the England team. He would be in most other countries' teams, just not in the team.
I don't think he's as good as Liam Dawson. Liam Dawson is better than Mitchell Santner.
I mean, that's just untrue, isn't it? it's not.
My point, as I said, was that I don't think Sodhi and Santner are brilliant. I think they're okay. I don't think there's that bit where we're worried about them too much. I think their pace line of Jameson, Bolt, Southey, you love him so much. I mean, is difficult. With Lockie Ferguson as well. There's some real pace there and there's some difference, right? But just their spin, not too convinced.
Yeah, I mean, like they're probably similar to England, aren't they? What are they supposed to do? Magic up a good spinner? It's not like they've not picked somebody good. It's they picked their best options and he's not as good as Jadeja.
That's fair. Glenn Phillips is also in the side. Tim Seifert, we're going to get to see him. We don't know what he looks like.
How's he going?
He's going. He's in the squad.
Yeah.
So
Well,
so the Leicester spotted Tim Seifert. They're looking forward to seeing him. But again, I think they'll do okay, New Zealand.
Yeah. Max, your call. Dealer's choice.
Right. Well, let's go with Sri Lanka, following on from South Africa, because they are playing South Africa at the moment, and their squad. Well, we mentioned sort of during the England series that Sri Lanka had a few problems in their sort of cricketing organisational skills. One of which was a lack of consistency and constantly changing captains and personnel and the like. But there is actually some consistency with this squad because it's basically pretty much the team that have been playing at home against South Africa. Unfortunately, they've played 2 T20s so far and lost them both, but that doesn't matter. It's fine. They won the ODI series against South Africa, so it's not all bad. God. But how
do they fucking lose?
This consistency that they have has only lasted one series because it's also not including some players from when they actually won some T20s. I mean, they were against obviously a very depleted India side who had Bhuvi batting at 6, so I don't know if it counts, but a win's a win. That's what it says in the score sheet. It counts about as much as a good performance against Sri Lanka. But there's Isuru Radana doesn't make the squad. He was in that team that beat India. Banuka's out because Dinesh Chandimal is now fit and back. That's a good thing. But they're also missing Ramesh Mendis and Akila Dhananjaya from the side that beat India as well. So for some reason they won some stuff and then decided they weren't going to play those guys anymore. And the COVID bubble breakers are all still banned as well. So they miss out. So basically what we've got is not a very good team.
There's a bunch of nobodies, aren't they? I mean, like let's not lie to the listeners and the viewers here. We don't know who any of these people are. Nobody knows who any of these people are.
They might as well roll out Lassis Malinga. They might as well roll. They might as well go Lassis.
Generally,
Angelo Matthews. Is Angelo Matthews in the team?
No,
he should be in the team.
I think he's having disagreements with the cricket board.
This is just Sri Lanka all over. This is, we go through this and we sound all high and mighty, but this is one of the themes of this T20 World Cup, I think, so far, is that barely any of the nations have got a fucking clue who they should be picking or why. There's like a real deficit of knowledge about how this format works, what you need to have in your squad to win, what a good T20 player is, what a good T20 scorer is, what a good T20 bowler is, what the conditions might be like, how you construct a team that would win a World Cup. The way you definitely don't construct a team that would win a World Cup is by picking a load of people who have never played international cricket before and seeing how it goes. Like there's no historical precedent for a team picking a bunch of random fuckers and being like, go and have at it, Mitchell Starc, go and take him on. go and do that. It's not going to work, is it? They're gonna lose probably every. I mean, they're not even. Sri Lanka haven't even made the big boy part of the tournament, have they? They've got to play Papua New Guinea and stuff to get through to the.
They'll be close
actual...
games.
That is not a guarantee. That is not a guarantee.
Trouble. They're in trouble. I think there's a really good chance they don't qualify. It's basically there are charity bake sales that are better organised than Sri Lankan cricket. Most charity bake sales.
It's because there's not enough cake to go around, Jack. There's just not enough cake. They've got too many clubs. They're just like, let's have 307 county championship clubs, whatever the list A equivalent is in Sri Lanka. Just a dilution, right?
Yeah, I mean it's they're really crap and they're really bad, and they're stuck in a mindset that they put together a team in 1996 that won a World Cup when cricket was just about not amateur, and they think that will still work 30 years later, basically 25 years later.
Well, at least we'll get to see Mickey Arthur's shorts again.
Well, we might not. I don't know. I mean, how much of the qualifying games are you going to watch? Because unless you're tuning in specifically for Mickey Arthur's shorts.
I'll watch a bit. Yeah.
All right. Well, they're crap. This is my official.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that.
And I'm not going to go to the effort. I'm just say this now. I'm not going to go to the effort of learning any of these players because they'll be gone by the next time anyone plays Sri Lanka.
Hasaranga is pretty good. He's good.
Hasaranga, yeah. All right. Well, let's
Jai De Silva, Kusan Pereira. That's about it.
Yeah. They got three people who you need to know, and if they don't do well, then they lose.
Yes. Yeah. Shamira's playing. He actually genuinely looks like he might be good at cricket, so he'll be out soon too.
Yeah. Yep.
Anyway, who's next? Afghanistan.
Should we take a quick break? Because we've been doing this for about 20 minutes.
Sure.
Take a really quick break, and then we'll come back with more cricket. Just a reminder: like and subscribe to the Cricket Pod wherever you're listening. YouTube, Spotify, iTunes. Be a cross-format hero. We will be back shortly.
You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.